It's probably the least healthy breakfast you can have, but like a good chicken fried steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs.
Yeah.
That's my second go-to.
Covered in gravy.
Yeah.
But I'm very aware that like when people are like, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, they're not talking about this giant chicken fried steak and eggs covered in gravy.
Not. Right. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, chicken and waffles. You got to start out right.
A good cup of syrup.
Hello and welcome to the Nick's Boots podcast from start to finish. My name is Shiler Mao. I'm joined here by
Lucas Grasberger.
Thank you. Lucas is our merchandising manager. Before we get into, we have kind of an interview template that we've been following, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your origin.
Sure.
And how I essentially found you.
Yeah.
And rescued you from destitution in the mountains of Northern California. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah. So I've been here for 3.5 years. Before I worked at Nick's, I worked at a small brick and mortar boot shop in Auburn, California, where I grew up, called Mickey's Boots. So we were a boot dealer. We had a repair shop in the back. So we sold Nick's, started in 2015 selling Nick's. We sold, White's, Danner, Red Wing, tons of Western boots. The company actually started off as a Western boot store in the back of a feed store. And then Mickey realized there was, money in boots. People needed boots. People weren't fitting boots well. So he moved his feed store to a boot store, started selling work boots. So I started working there. I was 19, I think. It was the second job I ever had. Actually, I was kind of forced to work there. Oh, my dad. So I had a job for like 3 months. Started going to community college. Schedules didn't work out, so I stopped working. And I actually took some of my savings and I invested it in Bitcoin. But this was 2014 when Bitcoin was like very obscure and wasn't like a big thing, maybe $200 a coin. And my dad was like, "What are you doing? You need a job." It's like, I'm doing something. I'm trading this. He's like, "That's not going to be anything. Like, go get a real job." So I sold my Bitcoin and I applied for this job, Mickey's Boots. They brought me in for an interview. Didn't hire me. I applied again, came in again. I was like, "Mickey, you already interviewed me." He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess you can start since we've already interviewed you. I guess you're looking for a job. Well, you can start working here. We need someone." So I just started. It was just retail, very basic retail job. It was Mickey in the front selling fitting boots, and then Vito in the back repairing boots. And I did a little bit of both for like 5 years. Apprenticed with Vito, was planning to kind of take over a little bit because they both wanted to retire. But then things came up earlier, so they ended up having to liquidate the store and retire earlier. And I was trying to figure things out. Figured I'd probably just end up getting a job at some fast food restaurant, a manager there or something. So it's like, I've got 5 years of hands-on fitting experience. Like, this is all gonna go to waste. Because we like specialized in fit at Mickey's. That was kind of our whole thing. And so I went on Reddit. I put this long post on Reddit on, I think it was like my 5 years of experience fitting boots.
Goodyear Well, right?
Yeah, on the Goodyear Well Reddit. And I was just going over like what widths are, Brannick sizing, sizing men's versus women's, how everything fits between, Nick's, White's, Red Wings, all the major brands. And it blew up. Like, I think it got close to 1,000 upvotes. Like, I was pretty shocked. And then someone commented and was like, "So sorry to hear Mickey's is closing. You were one of our best dealers. If you're ever interested in staying in the boot industry, reach out to me." And so I sent this person a message, and I was like, "That's so cool. You work at Nick's?"
No, you didn't send me a message. You replied.
Was that I replied in a comment?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
so I was just trying to scam like some upvotes and some good vibes. I didn't think you'd actually take me up on it.
Right.
But when you responded, I was like, well, okay, I guess I got to put my money where my mouth is here a little bit.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny too, because I replied and I was like, "That's really cool. You work at Nick's. Do you like make the boots or something?" And you're like, "No, I own the company." And that's when I was like, "Oh, this is like a real offer. Okay, interesting." And I think initiated, I think Grant called, or I think the two of you called on a group call, and was asking about like buying machines and stuff as well. But you guys,
Flew you up here,
flew
and
me
then
up
you
here.
had the temerity to go interview with my competitors.
Well, so that's the funny thing.
See, I didn't know about that until this podcast started.
So
It's kind of funny.
the funny thing is, before you reached out, because as a dealer, you have brand reps come by, show you new products and stuff. And we had one brand rep who was our Danner rep. Her name was Jennifer. After the buyout and stuff, she became our little cross reps for Whites and Danner. And so I talked to her and I was like, "Hey, can you see if there's a position open for me or something?" So I was like, I applied for a job at Whites before you reached out. And so when you offered to fly me up, I was like, "That's great. I've got friends who live up here. I can stay with them. I'll swing by, check out Whites." I didn't actually do like an interview over there. I just went over there, checked it out.
It was a vibe check.
Yeah, exactly.
And the vibes were not as good.
No, they weren't, honestly. Yeah. So you guys flew me up.
Yeah.
Grant showed me into the building. You actually, I don't think were here
wasn't
at the
here.
time. Yeah. So Grant showed me around, gave me a tour of the factory, which it was amazing. That was the first time I've seen the boots like being built in person. I've torn boots apart. I've fixed them. I've handled a lot of boots in person, but never saw the operation firsthand. So that was really cool. But everyone I talked to, great vibes. Everyone seemed really pleasant to work with and talk with. Showed me the operation in the store, and then, basically offered me a job. And so I flew back to Auburn, where I'd lived my whole life, and planned on packing up and moving 800 miles up here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a great addition, and so really, I'm really happy we did that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's weird. We've gotten a few employees from Reddit. So
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for sharing that. And I guess that was kind of a segue into one of my first questions, which is like, so this is kind of how you got your career started in the kind of footwear industry,
Right.
So now that we have some of your history, so tell us a little bit about what you do right now.
So I'm the merchandising manager here. So one of my main priorities is overseeing, stuff we sell, managing our inventory, making sure we've got enough shirts, hoodies, accessories, things like that. So when things are out of stock, it's kind of on me. Making sure we have it all here and we can keep moving it. Other than that, I oversee some of the social forums, figuring out different programs, like the Cutter's Choice program, adding quick ship options, cleaning up our website, making it easier to navigate. And I also help with a lot of the just general marketing strategies and kind of launch strategies as well for new products.
Cool. What's your favorite part of the job?
Honestly, I think it's cheesy. It's kind of cliche, but the people. I love all of my coworkers here. Like
Every single one.
There's
no way that's true.
There's not a single person here who I roll my eyes like, "Oh great, I gotta deal with," or like, "Oh this guy." Like everyone who I engage with, and I'll be honest, there's people in production who I have not formally met or talked to a whole bunch because we got a lot of people back there. But everyone I have engaged with, all great people. I can have conversations with everyone, work well with pretty much everyone I work with, and
Okay. Least favorite?
Least favorite, honestly, all the Slack channels.
I'm kind of with you on that. That's
There's-
not me, by the way.
There's
Dear listener.
so many Slack channels.
I know.
It's like we have all of the different like set groups for different subjects,
Yep.
and then it seems like there's a Slack channel for every
Well,
possible
also, I am in
combination.
every single one.
Right. I'm sure you're in like
I'm
so
in, like,
many more.
I have like 50. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't check all these.
It's like our main means of communication, which is crazy to me too, because we're all so close to each other.
Yeah.
But it's like there's every possible combination of people in Slack. Like there's one with you and I, there's one with you, myself, and
That is my
Grant.
least favorite part of Slack is the sharing. Whenever you share something like an image from your phone
Mm-hmm.
and you share it, like you can't type in the people you want to share it to. Isn't that crazy?
Right. And
Like you have to type in one of the people and then find whatever
Yep, the group.
combination of
Yeah.
people that you want to then send it to.
yeah.
And that can like take a long, I mean, you know, like it's all
Yeah.
2023 problems, right? Compared
Sure,
to like, if
sure,
you were like
yeah,
2015, you're like, this is amazing. But 2023, you're like, oh my God, I have to spend like 20 seconds hunting for this.
Yeah. If it's a group chat you don't engage with
Yeah.
regularly, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I got to dig this up. Does this chat even exist? Like me, Nathan, and Rebecca were having our meeting yesterday, and I was trying to share something with them. I was like, we never talk in Slack, just the three of us. So I have to dig this up.
Yeah,
and
it's
try
kind
and-
of funny. Like I remember, and I'm sure there's some organizations that are still like this, but before the advent of like IM, it was all email. And so I was like in an organization that I would say was kind of slow to pick up on IM, at least company wide. And so, I mean, I would get like 300 or 400 emails a day, you know? I mean,
Wow.
just like, well, because it was like, imagine all the Slacks you get.
Sure. Yeah. No.
And like,
yeah.
instead of a Slack, it was an email. The nice thing though about emails is like, the threads are not specific to the people; they're specific to the subject, which I think can
right.
be interesting or helpful. And then also, like, I feel like email search has become a little better. Slack search is it's like not terrible, but it's not as good. I think the subject thing is the main thing.
Yeah, because you just have to like kind of try and find it. Like, what did I call that? What keyword can I type in on Slack
Right.
to try and find?
Right, and like the thread, like the reply and thread thing is kind of weird, like especially with the notification stuff, and I don't know. I don't feel like we're as an anyway. Okay,
I
I'm getting in the weeds here, but
I did discover
email is like I think is kind of nice in some ways.
I will say on that subject, I did discover recently something that's helped tremendously. Is there's the reminder on Slack. I just discovered that this was an option, so you can right click a message, remind me in 1 hour, remind me in 24 hours. So that's my biggest problem is I get requests.
Yeah,
from
no,
everyone
Slack is
and-
easy to forget. I mean,
Yeah.
so like I'm the king of like because I try not to bother people, you know, after business hours unless it's like really urgent. But like that's why you guys get all these Slacks at 9 a.m. You know,
Well,
because I schedule everything in the
Do you
and then the
forget-
evening to like hit you guys at night. And so then now I like start staggering them, and so you'll get one at like 9 a.m., 9:15 if you're getting like a bunch. 'Cause
That's funny. I don't know if there have been a few times where I'll get a phone notification from you at like 8 o'clock at night, and I'll start to reply, and then by the time I hit send, it's gone, and then I realize it's because you scheduled it for the next morning.
Well,
you're
because I messed up and I was like, I really don't need like him to do this now. So I'm trying. I try to be good about that, and that happened like a week ago, and I was like, oh, don't do that. So I deleted it. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I agree. Slack can be, especially the way we have it set up.
I think we just
maybe
need to figure out how to
clean it up.
organize it. Yeah.
How do you stay up to date with the boot world and what's going on and trends and you know you are kind of on the cutting edge in some ways, especially with our accessories. You know,
Sure.
I think you're the reason why we have like 6 different kinds of laces, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah. People love laces. It's good to accessorize your boots. Social media is huge. Reddit obviously is huge. That's, you know, I'm a Reddit guy through and
Yep.
through. I feel like I've had, you know, my prior, you know, experience in the boot industry a little bit has helped. But staying up to date with new stuff, I'm subscribed to some newsletters and stuff from other manufacturers, just kind of see what they're doing. But yeah, I think mostly social media, just following the trends. Goodyear welt is huge, and there's some broader subreddits as well. But honestly, our customers are pretty great at, like, on our Reddit page, just being like, we do a monthly suggestions thread,
Yeah.
and they have amazing suggestions every month.
I feel like Reddit's being really weird right now.
Yeah,
Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Not-
with the
Well, I know they're doing, like, some people are doing the protest against the,
Mm-hmm.
like, discontinuation or the increased cost for the API access, but, like, I feel like it's technically acting strange. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not getting notifications. Like, I have to check manually. Like,
yeah. So it seems like they've been having some issues. Like, I have it set up. Reddit sends me an email every time their site's down, and they'll send an update of, like, our site's down right now because of this. We're working on it, and they'll send you updates. And it seems like they've been having more of those issues lately. So every once in a while, yeah, like comments won't come through, stuff like that.
yeah. I get a lot of, like, comment failed, but it did actually go through right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know. Any other publications besides social? Like, I mean, Style Forum or, like,
I don't do Style Forum. I've tried. It's tough for me to navigate because it's like a single thread, isn't it?
it's like old school. Yeah, it's an old school forum. You know?
I'm not familiar with that style of, like, it is just tough for me to navigate. I've tried, and I can't figure it out.
Okay. What thing that we have released since you've been here that you've been involved in most of them. What are you most proud of? Maybe it doesn't have to be an item. Maybe it's a program or anything
Sure.
like that.
That's tough. I think I have, like, in terms of program, I'd say Quick Ship. I think I'm most proud of. I think that was a pretty big change to our company direction in general, because that was kind of the thing that kickstarted, like, maybe we don't need this super complicated try-on process. Like, that was part of the whole reason we did that was, it was me and two other people doing our whole try-on process, and it went from, like, 10 submissions a day, less than 10 submissions a day, to, like, upwards of, like, 30 to 40 submissions a day of, like, fit sheets we'd have to analyze, determine a size, grab a boot, ship it out, wait for them to call, figure out a size, get the boot back, and then send that right out to the next person. So it was just, like, this really convoluted, overcomplicated process, I feel like. And so we were like, we need to figure out how to simplify this, but, people, like, we didn't have an exchange process back then. It was, you buy the boots, you're stuck with them.
Well, I feel like that was the biggest piece of that.
Yeah. And so it was like, well, how about this? Let's build black Hot Shots and Builder Pros, and let's build brown Rangers. We know we can resell those if they're in, like, new condition, if we get them back and they're not custom sizes. So we launched the program, Quick Ship, set models, basic sizing, get them faster. You can free returns.
Did
and
we?
exchanges.
I think we did the buy with confidence on everything. Or
That was
it?
afterwards.
It was. Oh, so it was just
Yeah,
started with just Quick Ship.
It was started with just Quick Ship.
Interesting.
To kind of take the load off of the try-on process, and then did really, really well. And so after that, we were like, well, like, let's extend this out. And we extended it out a little bit more. And then it was like, honestly, if they're in, like, new condition, we can resell pretty much anything, as long as it's not, like, again, super custom size, mismates, things like that, and it's not worn. Even if it's got a toe cap and it's, a 12-inch tall boot, we can probably resell it. And that's when we launched the Buy with Confidence program. And it just kind of evolved from there. And now it's, free exchanges on everything.
It is kind of interesting because, like, I don't know that everybody, like, the trade-off is, like, if by having less, I would call them hyper custom options, like the mismates.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, we used to do, like, different sized uppers for people. Like, it was crazy. But by not doing that at least as much, it does also allow us to just do exchanges and, like, have, go nuts, get whatever you want, that you can see on the website. And if it doesn't fit, no problem. We'll remake it in the right size. And that's what took the place of the try-on system, which, like, because we were like, well, we're charging people to do the try-on, but, like, they could just order the same boot, and if it didn't fit, that's their try on.
Right, exactly.
And then send it back. And so it kind of seemed a little unethical to be charging.
They
them
get
for
their
that.
first pair and we determine they do need something custom. Like we still kind of can work with you on that. And that was one thing I learned before I started working here was, you know, a lot of people think they need something like super custom, but really the reason they think that is because they just haven't been presented all their options.
Yep.
Like most companies, it's like you've got, if you're lucky, 2 or 3 widths to choose from. You've got from an 8 to a 12, sometimes no half sizes. And so being able to extend that out with our size options a bit, you can find what actually works for you.
And the other thing was like, I would agree. And like the other thing was like with the try on process, like you would not be getting the boot you are actually going to be wearing.
Right.
You'd get the same last, but like, you know, it still wasn't this like perfect analog. And so you'd get, you know, you ordered like a Builder Pro. Sometimes you might get like a Robert, you know? And so like, yeah, the last slope should theoretically be the same, but like the sole might be different, you know what I mean? So it would feel different when you got it, you know, and it wasn't going to give you a great necessarily representation of like what the boot was going to be like. So that was another reason why we were like, well, we can just build them exactly what they want. And now that we have this exchange process, we can, you know,
and to that point, like even
we can let them have it.
If someone ordered a steel toe, we'd send them a soft toe to try on.
Right. Well, because we just didn't have the inventory.
Exactly. Yeah,
like if you think about like how much inventory you would have to maintain to have all those different options, it was just not doable.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you know, in certain cases, it was like, yeah, theoretically this size fits perfect, but then you throw the safety toe in there, and you realize the safety toe just doesn't work for you. And so it'd be try on process. This feels great. We'd make the boot with the safety toe. They'd get the safety toe, and there'd be issues with the toe rub. And so it'd be an exchange process anyway. And so this honestly just makes it easier for the customer, probably a little bit more enjoyable experience too.
Yep. What have you been involved with that you thought would do well but bombed? Could be program, could be leather, could be product.
I'm trying to think of like what things didn't do well. I'm not. Predator whiskey isn't doing super well. I thought that would maybe do a little bit better. I wouldn't say it bombed necessarily. We're moving them, but I can't think of anything that I was like, this is going to do really well.
I mean, I feel like we haven't promoted it very much.
Yeah, we can probably do a better job. And I've been like posting Instagram stories.
Is it on
stuff.
sale?
No, it's not currently.
You should put it on sale for the Father's Day sale.
Okay, yeah, we can do like a
Why don't we
second. Add a couple more things to the Father's Day sale.
Yeah.
We can throw that on.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we've got Predator steel on sale right now.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just all new limited run Predator leathers on sale. Yeah, we can do that.
Cool. You know, what's your favorite leather? What's your favorite boot? What's your favorite boot that you're wearing right now?
Oh man.
And why is it the Thurman hiking boot?
I was afraid you were going to ask me this. So
That looks so awesome.
So all of my nicks that I have are pretty like they all have a place, I feel like. So I've got a pair of rebuilds that are like classic Builder Pro style, but they're black with a walnut heel counter or walnut backstay. This was like back in the day when we were doing weird stuff.
We'll do weird stuff on rebuilds. You just did that.
That's fair. I've got another rebuild from a pair that's from like 2000. It was one of the first mock toes we built.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was from 2000.
The uppers were from 2000.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
It was a thrift store find, tore them down, had no idea what the leather was, but it looked like 64 brown. So I rebuilt them, rough out bottom, 64 brown with a mock toe. I don't know if I have a favorite pair. They're all great. The Thurmans, obviously, or the Turnbull boots are currently my favorite. But I think the mock toes are the ones I go back to the most. They are developing a little squeak right now, though. But I think that just needs to be worked.
It builds character, man.
Yeah. But
I got some squeaky travelers.
because Okay, so I've got, let me just Builder Pro mock toe boots. I have my Veg Tan Roberts that I bought myself for my birthday. I've got my double stuffed natural ones that I did the Thunderdome in. I've got the Turnbulls. I've got,
We gotta look at our boot policy, like employee boot policy.
I got, first pair of Knicks ever was my Predator Orange Urban Loggers that I sent out to get resold by, oh man, I'm blanking on that.
Beat it? No, not Brian.
Wyatt and Dad Cobbler.
Wyatt and Dad.
Yes, it's my,
Okay.
so I've got
That was the time to.
I've got my Urban
Wyatt and
Loggers Predator Orange 8-inch Honey Vibram sole that I had resold by Wyatt and Dad Cobblers with a half sole. They look awesome. Is that everything? I feel like I'm missing something. I think that's all of them. I've got an old pair of Packers I have to get rebuilt. Those were a thrift store find also. They're from like 2000. So that was not part of the employee purchasing policy. I think that's it. I only have 7 pairs of Knicks. I think.
That's a lot.
I have over 20 pairs of boots.
Okay. What are 3 pieces? Well, what's some advice you'd give your younger self?
Oh man, I'm not great at these questions. I mean, I think the main thing is just like, don't care so much about like opinions, other people's opinions. Interesting thing, like, I feel like this is something my dad has tried to like drive home to me a lot. He is the most like, he's the person who will get up and make a speech at any occasion. So loud and boisterous, but I've always been like very like refined, like afraid of what people would think if I did something. And like that's the main thing. Like, don't care so much. Just live your life, do things. Doesn't like, people are gonna think less about what you do than you think they are. You're the person who's gonna care the most. Keep your money in Bitcoin.
Nice.
Don't sell your Bitcoin, because I could probably have retired by now if I kept that.
Well, how many Bitcoins was it?
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about retire, but
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd have a good.
Yeah, sure.
That's the thing. It was, yeah, they were cheap back then. It was
What are they worth now, Kelsey?
50K.
I'm saying you are you go like, you know how on the cool,
yeah,
you know on the
that's-
cool
that's your job.
podcasts they like look stuff up for the hosts.
Yeah.
The internet's really slow.
Oh, jeez.
We're having the modem installed next week.
Yeah.
I think it's
We're in the back. We're in the back of the conference room, and it doesn't get anyway.
It's not great,
It's
yeah.
not. It's not the internet itself.
the worst spot for the internet to be
Yeah.
bad. I think it's around 50K right now. Let's see.
All right. Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Oh no, it's taken a dive
geez.
recently. Yikes.
25K. Okay.
So younger self, keep your Bitcoin, but sell it before 2023.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 61K was the all-time high.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So if you go back and like, every once in a while I'll send my dad a screenshot of the graph with like a little arrow. It's like, this is when you told me to stop and to get a real job. To be fair though, like it was summer and I was just like, I wasn't doing much. So I totally understand, but it just a fun joke I like to play every once in a while. Like,
Yeah, you would have been early, man.
Yeah.
The graph doesn't even go back that far.
it looks like a flat
Yeah.
line at 0 if you
Yeah.
look at it now.
Okay. Third piece.
Third thing.
We don't care about as much about what other people think. Keep your
Keep your money in Bitcoin.
digital assets.
I don't know.
Well, was this a sign that your life has been so great over the last
honestly.
10 years that you just haven't learned anything?
Maybe.
know,
I will
that
say,
went
I
wrong?
think back to like just the whole situation of like me coming here. It's like while I was working that job at Mickey's, like I love that job, but there are so many friends and family who are like, what are you doing? You've worked at a retail store for 5 years. You stopped going to community college. You didn't finish to get your degree. Like, what are you doing? Like, do something. And then it was just like, it worked.
Yeah.
And like I just kept hitting that one thing over and over, and here I am. And it's funny because I was going to community college for graphic design and marketing, did 2 semesters, and now I'm the merchandising manager here doing graphic design and marketing.
It's true.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'm terrible at these questions.
Okay. Describe yourself using only 5 words.
Do you want to hear my 5 words that I came up with last night?
Yes.
Yes.
I gotta look it up though. Hold on.
One of them is tall. If you ask anyone else to describe
Sure.
me,
All right, it's
tall,
fine.
tall will be number 1.
Trees, boots, D&D, creative, and tall.
Trees.
Trees.
He likes being outside, so like to wrap it up in 1 word.
So, okay, 5 words to describe myself. Not using tall.
Nice.
I'd
He
say,
wants to be outside.
okay, so one word that has been used to describe myself by other people, which at this point I've just kind of embraced, and it started in a teasing manner, sassy. I would prefer like cheeky. I feel like it has less of a negative connotation, but yeah, Kelsey's
You
over
are
there
a little
nodding.
sassy. I concur.
My brother Tyler actually is the one who like constantly calls me sassy. He knows how to get under my skin. But I've been called it by other people on separate occasions, and even a friend of mine called me it in front of him at one point, and he just had a field day with it. So cheeky, I guess, but also like kind of aloof, I would say. Like, I don't care about like engage. Like, if I don't know you, I'm not going to make a strong attempt to engage with you. I'm okay being quiet.
And sometimes even when he does know you.
To the point where like there's it's like pulling teeth getting me to respond in certain areas at work and outside of work. You can both attest to this. But like there's people who I'm good friends with now who are like, I thought you hated me because you just didn't like, you're quiet, you didn't seem interested.
It's like Rebecca. Rebecca said that too.
We're very, I feel like we're similar in that way.
I don't know about that.
Maybe it's a trust issue thing. Like, I don't know.
Like I've got
Maybe
all
there's
these,
some childhood
wounded-
drama we're
wounded
digging up
hearts
there.
out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Jeez.
You
That's
don't.
a different podcast. I think.
Yeah. Cheeky, aloof. I feel like I'm pretty like calculating. Like I'm a very strategic person. I feel like socially and otherwise. Think through things a lot, maybe more than I should. Goes back to like that advice I give my younger self. Observant. I feel like I can read people pretty well and situations pretty well. Like I feel like there's a lot of times in our meetings where I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay, hold on. This is what you're saying. This is what you're saying. I think you both are kind of saying the same thing. So I think this is like, I feel like I'm good at picking things up like that. One more, right? 5? I don't know.
Do need one more, yes.
Tall.
Okay.
Tall.
Nice.
I will say, if you have any friends or family that are over 6 feet tall, just don't mention that they're tall.
It's so hard.
It gets so old.
Is that
after
hard
a
for
while.
you?
It's to the point like, and I know
man.
it's loving in a loving manner, but it's like anytime I see someone who I haven't seen in like a month, it's like, oh, did you get taller? Like, no, I didn't. I'm still just freakishly tall like I was last time you
You're
saw
not
me.
that tall.
I'm 6'5". I feel like I'm right on the cusp.
I mean,
Like,
I don't know. I'm 6'2". Like,
yeah,
Nobody's like Nathan is freakishly tall. He's 6'9".
right.
So you're not even like close to the tallest person here.
No, I know, and it's great. Maybe that's my favorite thing about working here is that I'm not seen as the tall guy.
Wow. Okay.
Because every other like scenario or situation I'm in, I'm the tall guy.
What do you do outside of work for fun?
I like to be outside. I like to hike, backpacking, things like that. In the last couple years, and this might be because of like, COVID, stuff like that, locked inside, I've really embraced my nerdy side. Like I've always been I've really always been a closet nerd. Like I'm a gamer. I like to play video games. But in the last 2 years, I have gone like full tilt.
I feel like it's weird that that's like nerd stuff. You know what I mean? Because like a ton of freaking people do it now.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I feel
It's
like
pretty mainstream.
There was a perception like I feel like I was on the cusp. Like people who were in high school before me, it was like gamers or
Like I play video games. I'm a nerd.
no,
you know
no.
what I mean?
So
Like I play Call of Duty.
That's the thing. Let me
and just murder people all day.
and that's not even what I was getting at when I said I've embraced. Like I'm full tilt D&D nerd now. Tabletop RPG, Magic the Gathering. I play D&D twice a week. 2 different.
Well, you do it with these guys, right?
Yeah. So
I do know that.
yeah, I play with Abby, Micah, and Radal, as well as Abby's fiance. I'm the DM, so I run the game. But then I also play another campaign with some other friends remotely on Tuesdays. And so that has just totally, and I'm talking about starting another one. So I'll be playing three days out of a week.
Nice.
And that's a recent thing. So that, I think those are my main hobbies right now. It's getting to the point where I'm like,
Did you see the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
I did. We saw it together. Yeah. Me, Kelsey, Mike, and
I rented it. I liked it.
It was good. Yeah. I really, and so this is like, it really did a good job of like, there's a lot of parts in the movie that are like, that's a D&D, like that's a full on, like that's a turn or that's a, this move or this ability. Like you can point it out.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's like
I mean,
gameplay.
I don't know, but that's what I've read.
There's like
they're
even
pretty true to the
there's
lore.
even a fight scene. This is going too deep, but there's even a fight scene where like in D&D, every turn of combat is 6 seconds, and there's even a fight scene where it's like 6 seconds where everyone takes a hit, and so it's like super nerdy
That's
stuff.
cool.
But yeah, it was a good movie. It was a feel good. It was a good movie.
Good.
But yeah, I think those are my main hobbies right now. It's to the point where I'm painting figurines, and I just went in halves on a 3D printer. So I'm like printing out figurines and painting
We are going to
them.
buy a 3D printer here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big deal.
Going to be for some cool stuff. What is making you happy today?
Man, I just woke up like 30 minutes ago. I got coffee. We're having a good conversation. That's it so far.
Okay. Cool.
I got plenty of sleep last night. That's always a good start to the morning. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Father's Day sale kicked off yesterday. It was a good start. Let's keep it going today.
Yeah. I think we both kind of, in a sense, have our fathers to thank for to being here.
That's right.
Being at Nick's.
Absolutely.
In very different ways.
Absolutely.
Mine told me to get off my ass and go to work, and you decided to help your dad run a company. So
That's right.
But
it's very true. Yeah, we've come a long way, and definitely, we are a family business. You know, we're my dad and I are both owners of the business, and it's been fun to work with him. I remember, especially in the earliest days, where I needed, maybe the most context and guidance and stuff like that. I almost missed that a little bit. Like it's, a little more the machine runs a little more smoothly, without that stuff. But, are you doing anything for Father's Day?
I'm gonna give him a call.
Yeah.
He's 800 miles away, so I'll give him a call, talk to him. He actually just got back from New York to visit my grandfather, who has a old Austin Healey.
Okay.
That he's been like fixing up, and he's actually sending it over to my dad.
Oh, cool.
So he's like sending me pictures of them driving in it. My dad's also tall, so it's funny seeing him sit in this Austin Healey where he's
very cool,
clown car style. But so I think I'm just gonna give him a call, chat with him a bit, say Happy Father's Day. But
are you sending a card?
I might have to now that you brought it up on a podcast.
I think you should probably send him a card.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'll. It's my dad's also. He's over in Seattle, but we'll be hanging out with my father-in-law. I'm sure. It's just down the road. So that's always fun. He's a good guy. Well, yeah. So Lucas, to thank you for your time, and to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate getting to know you a little bit, and you sharing that with the rest of the world.
Of course, happy to share. Thanks for having me.
Kelsey, thank you.
Anytime.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Later.